What is Galactic Ruler Enlightenment? That is the question for today's video, and note, this will not be a review, but I will be answering what this game is, how it plays, and how it compares to its predecessor of Galactic Ruler. As one note, this game releases on March 28th, 2024. And whatever day this releases, it will be before that date. So to start, what is Galactic Ruler Enlightenment? Galactic Ruler Enlightenment is a mixture of 4X, grand strategy, and even some war game aspects. Everything you might know from a game like Supreme Ruler, made by the same company, BattleGoat Interactive, where you are offered a 4-stage tutorial with varying objectives to teach you how the game plays. Continuing from Galactic Ruler the first, it is still one of, if not the best tutorial BattleGoat Studios has ever produced, in my opinion. The campaigns are a new thing to this game. You have 2 different campaigns that are available, the Enlightened, and one that just says unavailable in demo version because the game isn't out yet. If you do start these campaigns up, and they are being modified by the day, even as I'm recording this, you will be given varying objectives, some story to get you started, and to push through as objectives to give you something to do in the game. I'm judging entirely based on my experience with this. We will go look at that in a little bit here. And you will be given advice on where to start, where to begin. Something that is a notable thing that comes up in BattleGoat games is players sometimes just don't know where to begin. These campaigns perfectly help give you a starting point after you complete the tutorial, from what I've noticed. And they're adding more things to help new players into these campaigns all the time. The new game, separate to the campaign, this is the Sandbox option you might know from Supreme Ruler. You get some basic options at the start. Not entirely sure why these are separate from the advanced options, but they are. You could choose a small, medium, or large galaxy. You'll see the number of systems, major and minor factions, and pirates will change. You will see there are different stances you can pick to determine how the AI act. Economic is the standard. Defensive is passive AI. You might recognize, I'm gonna use some terminology from 4X games to help you understand this better. And military is the aggressive stance for AI. Once you hit factions, this is for you to pick a faction, and this game has, as you see, a large number of factions, all of which have different play styles, different ship types, etc., etc. This is not the kind of 4X game where you can simply make your own ships, custom design them, and customize anything about your race. No, this is not one of those games. This is a game with very preset races that are all pretty darn different in how they play. Things that affect how they play are listed right here. For example, what sort of biome they live on, what their food source resource is. Different factions will eat different things. Humans, for example, eat agriculture. The plotters here, which are probably my favorite in Galactic Ruler, eat energy. The plotters can also live in oxygen and thin atmospheres, which is really nice. There's also things that will tell you how the AI will act when playing them. You can also just hover down over their name to get more information about them. For example, one human population will live until about the age of 78. That is the life expectancy. A plotter will live till 250. And as you might notice, the birth and death rates are very low. Look at humans. It's more standard. This is the norm. So you might see, while the birth rate's higher, that certain races will perform much differently here. Every race is essentially a different experience for you to have, and this is just the sandbox. The campaigns are essentially, you have this race right here. This is the campaign that we simply cannot access right now. And then this right here, these are the Enlightened. This is another human race. This is the other campaign in case you wanted to play these separately in the sandbox. When you're in this screen, you can customize even further here. You see the galaxy type can be a cluster, a band, or a spiral, for example. Galaxy size can be customized here from medium, large, very large, and even further beyond that, there's advanced settings we'll get into in a second. Habitability, you can choose the habitability average of planets. The whole galaxy is custom generated, procedurally generated. Every time you start a game up, every single time the new save file with the new galaxy will be generated, unless you're loading a save file, of course. Resource abundancy across planets. What victory type complete being take everybody over and you win. There's volatility settings. This is world volatility from Supreme Ruler, which you might recognize. These are just the standard settings to determine how often AI are going to want to make alliances or go to war. None being generally not at all, and very high being all the time. So also determine the AI's bias towards trusting or hating the player. The higher up it goes, the less they'll trust you normally from the beginning of the scenario. You have standard difficulty settings. You have the starting technology level, so normal is if you want to play just getting into spacefaring in terms of the capacity to explore your own system. None is you start out entirely on your planet, and advanced is you already start able to go between solar systems. This really affects the early part of the game because it will determine whether or not you're fighting pirates at the beginning or you're fighting aliens at the beginning. There's allied victories. It's a way to just win if you have allies. And then here's all the more complicated things, which I would go over in a different tutorial. I'm just trying to give you the general idea of customization right now, because you can customize your sandbox. As you see, there are a lot of options. You cannot customize campaigns this much, not upon generation. Even the galaxy size presets we saw, that's only half the limit. I can bump this up to 200 systems. That's twice what it was going to default to. And I can even, like I mentioned, turn off pirates entirely if I don't include space pirates. Can also turn on merchant marine system you might recognize from Supreme Ruler, so that naval ships will be able to get around more easily. And once again, I would go more in depth in a separate tutorial. But I've already set up some save games for us to look at. So I've booted into a sandbox that I set up, just using some very large presets. No pirates on this one, just to show you guys around. This is what my starting solar system looks like. This is random. I did not have a say in this aside from what I put into the generation. The amount of planets here, what they are completely random every time. If I want to go around and figure out what a planet is more than just looking at it. I mean, looking at it, this looks like a very good planet for us. It's very large, and without surveying it, it surely looks habitable. See, only survey planets can be inspected. We can create survey ships, scout ships that go out and discover these planets for us. See, there's even more up here. This one definitely would not be habitable for us. There's even massive asteroid fields that can be spawned in, depending. This looks like a very good starting system, with most planets being habitable for us. And it goes beyond this, because regardless of what your starting system looks like, there is the galaxy map. This is our solar system. If we scroll out, we don't see anything, because we haven't explored yet. We don't have the technology to explore. So because of that, we cannot see everything. We do know it's in a spiral, and that there are roughly, I think I started with 75 or 100 solar systems in this to be discovered. If we want to go back in, we just double click, and now we're back in our solar system. I can zoom in on the one planet we do own, where you see we have some buildings around. They form in kind of a hexagonal fashion. If I double click, this is just one way to navigate, mind you. I can go onto our planet. This is what our planet looks like. You can kind of infinitely scroll from side to side. Not up and down, obviously. That's not how planets work. And you can see we have started out with this as a starting planet. It is determined where cities will be located, some preemptive road networks, and our capital, and some base factories. There are ways to filter the map and examine resources that we have available to us. One thing that's always been difficult in Galactic Ruler is energy. Depending on who you start as, the plotters, for example, have less problem with this, despite the fact that they eat it. Energy, I can click right here just to show you an example of map markers and see every location where energy is on the planet. I could build then resources, for example, in the resource screen here, under energy, such as a power plant. I could just build some on the map anywhere where we have a location. Green means yes, red means no, you cannot build on the little circle. And I can just queue up as many as we'll fix there. As you see, 7 things are building. We have the complex itself, and then 6 factories around it, power plants. These will produce resources. We already have 100 active just spread around the planet. Apparently. Across all these tabs, we have the resource tab where we handle resources like this, the state tab where we handle mostly matters of state and diplomacy, the recon department, also known as the land tab for Supreme Ruler players, where we can examine information about hexes that we click on. This is technically a hex-based game that plays, by the way, in real time. You can increase the game speed The devs have a different way of describing this, but I would always describe this as real time with adjustable speed and pause. And then we also have, for example, research that we can perform to advance our tech and be able to do more and get certain benefits, as well as control over military forces, whether that be command or production. Notifications pop down over here. You can customize what you're seeing, whether in large amounts or otherwise. There are a bunch of options that we can look through if you want to change graphical settings. They are very limited. The customization is more in notifications and controls for how the game plays. For example, you could clear messages and change the alerts as well. And on every message, you will have a bunch of different options here, including just saying, don't ever tell me this kind of topic ever again, all of which can, of course, be reset in the settings. Now, if we do go ahead and load up the campaign, we will see it's going to be a little bit different. We now have something new, and this is for events. Supreme Ruler players may be familiar with this. You will get extra information here, but specifically about objectives. They will pop up in terms of text-based descriptions like this, giving you objectives to fulfill. If it's part of the story, then it will progress, especially to other objectives, and you can cycle through them like this. A green check mark means it is complete. A gray check mark means it is not. Red, right here, this is an alert, essentially, determines how the devs are telling you how important this is. So you'll have your story, and then these other ones are more just starting missions that it is recommending for you, but these ones are very recommended for you to do. And this is how it progresses. Time will go on, these things will pop down, tell you something, give you an objective. It's your job to go after and do it. However, even the campaign can essentially be played like a sandbox. This right here is an example of those asteroid fields I was talking about. And it feels weird to make this video because I haven't made one of these for Galactic Ruler yet. I might eventually, but for now, just know everything I set up to this point, with the exception of release date, will apply to Galactic Ruler, the original, as well. That's really all there is to show off for a simple what is this video of how this game operates. However, there is some stuff to talk about. So this game is quote-unquote a sequel to Galactic Ruler. However, if you've played Galactic Ruler, you might notice that this is basically the same game. And you're not crazy. It is. This is not Galactic Ruler 2. This is Galactic Ruler Continued. You should look at this not like a new sequel game. You should look at this like a paid standalone expansion, because at the release of this game, for the most part, everything in this game, with the exception of the campaigns, in terms of major features, is also going to be in Galactic Ruler, the original. Now, development will continue on this one, and it may become nothing like Galactic Ruler by the end of it. It may get even more campaigns. I don't know. They're not being as talkative, at least as they were compared to Supreme Ruler 2030. Now, does that mean that if you have Galactic Ruler that you shouldn't buy this one? No, because there is going to be, and I quote, a significant discount for Galactic Ruler players wanting to get into this game. Probably even bigger than the discount that was provided for Supreme Ruler 2030, considering this is the same game continued in the same engine, as opposed to Supreme Ruler 2030, which was a new engine entirely. With that discount in mind, your choice on whether to upgrade from Galactic Ruler is up to if you want to experience the campaigns and future updates that this game will offer. I don't know if these updates will go to Galactic Ruler. The devs have not said. As a brand new player getting into it, it comes down to your preference as well. Galactic Ruler will almost certainly end up cheaper than Galactic Ruler Enlightenment. So it's up to if you want to be up to date with the newest updates and pay potentially extra for campaigns, or if you would like mostly just the Sandbox experience and you're happy with how the game is now. I cannot make this decision for you, but those are the differences between Galactic Ruler and Galactic Ruler Enlightenment. That is what you can expect from the future based on everything that they have told to me and said publicly that I can find so far. Hopefully this video was of use to you in understanding what this game is and maybe informing your day one purchase. That's going to be it for now, however, so thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope I'll see you on another video.